Hey, hi there boys and girls, and welcome back to the channel. So we've got a few games featuring the Smasher, but before I carry on with that, I've got to give a special shout out to another little Smasher. I believe there is a young man who lives in Gwent in South Wales called Ty, who is a fan of watching the Vimes videos. I believe he's only 4 years old, so obviously excellent taste in videos there, Ty. Thank you very much for watching. You be a good boy and do what mummy and daddy say, and keep watching, buddy. Thanks a lot, my friend. Okay, so the Smasher, yeah. When this tank first came out, it was about 2 years ago, and I think it was the only time it was ever actually for sale. It was on sale for £20. Well, it's a collector's tank rather than a premium, and I never really paid it much mind at the time. I don't think a lot of people did, unless you were a particular fan of a slightly up-armoured KV2. It wasn't really the tank for you, and I didn't enjoy the KV2, so I never really bothered with it. And it wasn't on sale for particularly long. And it didn't take long for the YouTube videos to start circulating, saying, basically demonstrating that this thing was entirely mental. Very OP, troll armor, huge gun, and a lot of people sort of regretted their opportunity to buy it. So since then, I don't believe it's ever actually come back on sale. It does appear every now and then here as a crate tank. That you will have something like a 4%, 3% drop chance of getting in certain events, and it recently reappeared in the Heat of Steel event, and I think I got 2 keys from the store, and I dropped the Smasher on the very first box. So yeah, obviously very pleased to get a premium tank for hardly any money, but this has always been controversial ever since it was introduced to the game. I mean, Tier 7 to a certain extent, even before this, was a bit controversial with tanks like the Dracula, the Tankenstein, Gravedigger. So yeah, there were quite a few comedy tanks in Tier 7, and then this thing came on the scene. And yeah, I don't know what to think about it, really. I mean, should there be sort of ridiculously OP tanks like this in the game? Probably not. It does make playing at Tier 7 sometimes a little challenging, but then, if you don't like the appearance of these tanks, don't play Tier 7, I suppose is the answer. I quite enjoy playing Tier 7 because there are some good regular tanks in Tier 7. I like the FV201, I like the Tiger one. But invariably, especially after one of these events, you're going to come across Gravediggers and Smashers. Now, the tank itself, yeah, it's what it says on the tin. It basically removes a lot of the weaknesses from the KV2. It's obviously a Tier 7 tank rather than Tier 6. It's got good armor on the front. It will take bounces, but its main attribute is it just has this monstrous gun with relatively good HE pen. I mean, you can pen pretty much nearly every medium tank at Tier 7 with this gun, and you're doing close to 1,000 damage with it if you get a penetration in. So you are effectively driving around in something that can one-shot a tank, and that's controversial at. I mean, even things like the Death Star are controversial at Tier 10 because of the ridiculous amount of damage they can do. So yeah, introducing this at Tier 7, it's got a relatively good turn of speed as well. Yeah, it's always been controversial, but I got the thing as a bonus, so I thought the least I can do is go out and have a few games in it. Didn't do particularly huge amounts of damage in that game, but picked up a couple of kills. Yeah, it's not really the type of tank that I would normally like to play. I'm not a huge fan of big derpy guns that dole out massive amounts of HP in one thing. I like fast firing guns, things that you with faster reloads that you can get into a brawl with. So for me, I mean, it's fun, don't get me wrong. I mean, who doesn't love whacking in a shot for 1,000 hit points worth of damage? But yeah, I view this as a comedy tank. I view it as a fun tank. I view it as something to play just for a laugh. And I think if you deal with it in that way, then you're probably not going to get either too disappointed with the tank if you come against it, or too disappointed with the tank if you own it and you can't get it to perform. But I mean, it's capable of doing things like this. I mean, this guy's going to rock up. Here we go. And yeah, there we go. That's nearly all of his hit points gone in a single shot. And he's very, very quickly cleared up. Should tanks like that exist in the game? I don't know, really. I would say it certainly lessens it lessens the skill requirement somewhat. However, if you really are fundamentally opposed to it, don't play tier 7. Is the simplest answer. Yeah, I think I had about sort of 15-20 battles in it, and I have to say I probably didn't get the most out of the tank, purely and simply because I've had it very, very difficult to take it seriously. It's just a daft tank, basically, but it can be a lot of fun. Now, yeah, we'd have, as you can see, I mean, you can take out enemy mediums pretty much at will. I mean, on one particular battle, I think I actually pushed the medium flank just so that I could go around one-shotting enemy mediums. I think it took about 3 out. Yeah, I don't think there's really much more to say about it. I mean, you don't take it seriously. I think it would be my advice, either playing it or playing against it, frankly. Yeah, we're having quite a nice battle here, getting into quite a few little scrapes front line in the tank. The TD, the green TD on my right here, he's enjoying it because every single time I whack this big derpy gun into someone and don't quite kill him, he's clearing them up for the kills. So I think I do about 2.5K's worth of damage in this game, but don't get any kills because the TD there was clearing them all up. Yeah, if you angle this thing up, you will take bounces. It's got a good turn of speed. It's got a faster reload than the KV. It reloads in about 15-16 seconds. So that's not, you don't have to sit at the back with it like sometimes you do with a KV2. So you can roll it forward. You will take bounces in it. It's got much better armor than the KV2. It's got a relatively good turn of speed as well when it gets going. Yeah, it doesn't really have too many fundamental weaknesses, this tank, and it just has that sort of overpowered gun sticking out the front of it. Yeah, I know some people really actively hate this tank or want it nerfed. I own it. I mean, I don't think I'd be that disappointed if it got nerfed. I just probably wouldn't drive it a lot. I mean, it is overpowered. It's massively overpowered for its tier, and to a certain extent, you might say it doesn't really have a place in a game that should be reliant upon skill. Having said that, you jump into a tier game lately, and you're probably going to get. I mean, I've had games where there've been at least 2 on each team. I mean, they're not as uncommon as they used to be. And then you've got, you throw in the grave diggers and the Tankensteins and Draculas and things like that as well. It probably evens out how many you've got on your team and how many are on the opposing team. So I simply view this tank as something that's a lot of fun to drive, basically. If you're having a bad day with the game, or you're feeling, it's just not going well for you, jump in this thing, run around, cheer yourself up by blasting nearly 1,000 alpha into a poor unsuspecting medium tank. It is funny. Yeah, so I mean, this fella here, he's we were doing pretty well holding our own on the high ground here at Copperfield, and this guy's decided to push around on the back of the heavies. I'm very surprised that my 2 teammates on the right aren't trying to cut this guy off and push round. So eventually I take the decision, right, well, if you're not going to do it, I am. I know I'm going to get hit from the side here as I push around on this guy, but we can't let him basically be a pest back here. We are winning this game and we want to continue doing so. So we make sure we get it, and there we go. We whack him in for 900 alpha. Nice HE shot through the side there. And yeah, that's the kind of thing that this tank can do. So yeah, this battle's pretty much over by the shouting, so we can just push forward now. I made a couple of terrible mistakes here with ammunition selection. I've got heat loaded here, where I really should have HE loaded to stick one through the front of there. That would have probably been a kill had I loaded the HE. And then I think, yeah, he gets taken out, and then I push up onto the ARL, and for some reason I put AP in instead of heat rounds. So I make two terrible decisions with regard to ammo selection, and it probably cost me the kill in both in both circumstances. But yeah, get a bounce off the ARL, which is a bit silly. However, I mean, pretty easy win. And yeah, just honestly, guys, don't rage at this thing. Don't get upset by it. It's a comedy tank at a tier that is full of comedy tanks. You're going to have them on your side. You're going to have them on the opposition side. If it does bother you that much, don't play tier 7. And if you having a bad day, you just want some fun, and you do own one of these things, jump in it and just blow some stuff up. Sometimes it makes you feel better. But yeah, I was aware that I didn't have a single piece of footage of a single one shot on a tank, so here we go. Oh dear. Oh dear. Yep. Yes, you're infinitely horrible time there, my friend. Bit of slow-mo action here. Let's watch this guy blow up. And there we go. 1000 alpha straight through the front of the TD there. Great stuff. Anyway, boys and girls, thank you very much for watching the videos and supporting the channel. And as always, good hunting and bye for now.